In the spirit of the season, in the spirit of the celebration, I'll be illustrating on how to make a pinafore dress, pinafore short dress to be a pencil dress with a waistband and belt holder. Oh, please, if you are new to this channel, ensure to give it a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to subscribe. This is very important. This will help me to grow. Keep watching, keep liking, keep sharing my video. I love you all. Merry Christmas once more. So let's get to the business of the day. Okay, this is the fabric I'll be using. Is a yard and a half, and I'll be using it to illustrate on how to make my pinafore dress. Okay, firstly you fold your fabric into two, then you fold again into four, leaving at about 1.5 inches for your zipper allowance because this dress will be having a zipper at the back. Okay, so this is my zipper allowance. Okay, I have 1 inch here for my zipper allowance, and this side will be for the front part. So what we're doing now is insert our measurement. Since it's a pinafore dress, it's not really starting from the end of the shoulder. So what we do will be minusing 2 inches from our shoulder measurement. That is to say, if you're having 16 as your shoulder measurement, you subtract 2 inches from it, then you divide by two. Or you divide by two first, then you still subtract 2 inches. Subtract like two inches or 1.5 inches. But I'll be using 2 inches because I want the hand to be very small. I don't want it wide. So the shoulder I'm working with is 16 inches. Divided by 2 will give me 8 inches. So instead of me to use 8 inches now, I'll be using 6 inches. 6 inches for my shoulder measurement. Okay, from that point now, for my shoulder line, I'll come down by 1 inch, half inch. Then I'll mark 3 inches along the neckline area. Then I will draw my shoulder slant. I'll just connect it together like this. Okay, so this is my shoulder slant. So I believe my chalk is visible enough. This is the shoulder slant. You come down by half inch, then you slant to 3 inches along the neckline. So from that shoulder point, this is our shoulder line. From that point, I'll come down by my breast point measurement. That's from my shoulder to my nipple, which is 11 inches. So I'll mark out 11 inches here. My half length, which is actual half length, under bust 14 inches, half length 16 inches. So what we're doing here, as you can see from this side, is having a band. So we'll be using our under bust plus half inch. They will add 2 inches extra for band. So I'll just draw out my line. Okay. So I'll be working with 15 inches for my half length. 15 inches for my half length because it's still going to have a band. Okay, so this is my half length. So on my breast point line, I'll take my measurement. I'll be using my bust to bust measurement on this, and my bust to bust measurement is 8 inches. I'll add 1 inch extra to it, making it 9 inches. If you divide 9 inch by 2, it will give you 4.5. So I'll mark out by 4.5. But if you want it straight from the shoulder area, you can just as well mark 6 inches till you get to the waistline. That's if you want it straight. But I want it to have a little slant from the shoulder area, so I'll just make use of 1.5 inches plus my one inch. Okay, I'll be using 1 inch extra to my bust to bust measurement, which is 4.5 inches. 4.5 inches. So on my waistline, I'll mark same 4.5 inches. Then I'll connect from the shoulder area. Remember, we use 6 inches on our shoulder, so I'll just connect the lines together. Okay, we use 6 inches here, 4.5 inches, and 4.5 inches along the waistline. So what I'll be doing next is to add my seam allowance. So I'll be adding 1 inch extra to the measurement. My waistline, I'll add 1 inch. On my bust point line, I'll add 1 inch. Then I'll connect to meet with the shoulder area. Okay. So I'll just cut this out before cutting the neckline. Okay, but if you are turning yours to the lining, because if you're using a lining, if you're using only 1/4 inches to sew, then you have to like use 1/2 inch seam allowance instead of 1 inch. If you're using lining to turn the edges, use 1/2 inch seam allowance instead of the 1 inch. Then you just connect from the shoulder because you don't really need a wide shoulder for this. So that's how it to be like. That's if you are using lining. But if you are using if you are folding it in, then you have to use like 1 inch because to take more. So I'll just cut this out now. Mind you, I'm using the lining to turn it, and I'll be attaching a 1.5 inches band. So now I just cut it out. So I'll just cut out my shoulder sleeve. So what I'll be doing next is to draft the neckline. As you can see from the picture of my style, the neckline is very deep. It's up to the under bust. So I'll just mark from my shoulder area. I'll come down to about 13 inches or 12 inches is fine. Mark 12 inches for my neckline. Then I'll still maintain 3 inches on the shoulder area. So I'll just connect the lines together to meet up with 13 inches. This is a deep V neck. Okay? So you can choose to leave the deep V shape like this, or you can as well give it a little curve along the edges. But I think this is fine by me. But for the back neckline, it's a high neck, so I'll be marking 2 inches or 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches is fine. Then I'll connect to this point. So 1.5 inches, just connect. So I'll cut the back neckline first before cutting the front neckline. Okay, so I'll cut the front part out. Okay, so the upper part is ready like this. So this is the front, and this is the back. So I'll just place it and notch my square allowance. Sorry, I forgot to do that earlier on. Notch my square allowance. I'll just use my chalk to mark it down. Okay, so this is my square allowance and this is the front part. That's all about the up. I'll just cut my lining for this, then I'll cut the lower part. Okay, this is a crepe material and it's kind of stretchy. This is also my zipper allowance for the lower part of my dress. That's the skirt part. This is my zipper allowance. I still maintain my 1 inch. So I want to explain this. This material is kind of stretchy, so you will see me adding allowance to it because it's stretchy and it's an already made fabric. You don't need allowance on it. So I'll just input my exact measurement and cut because the fabric is stretchy. But if your fabric is not stretchy, ensure you add seam allowance to it. You can add 1 inch or 1.5 inches. So this is my waistline. Automatically, this is my waistline. Then I'll just come down by 9 inches for my hip line. This 9 inches is the measurement from my waist to my hip. Then the dress length, that's the skirt length. So the skirt length I'm working with is 1 inch plus 1 inch seam allowance. So I'll just draw the length out. So I'm working with total of 32 inches. Okay, so this is my 32 inches. This is my skirt length. This is my hip line. Let me draw it out for clearer understanding. So this is my waistline, this is my hip line. So on the waistline, I include my waist measurement, which is 32 inches, divided by 4 will give me 8 inches. 8 inches. Now on the hip line, I include my hip measurement, which is 42. Divided by 4 will give me 10.5. 10.5. 10.5. Then on the heavy part of my skirt, which is this area, I will subtract 1 inch from my hip measurement, and the hip measurement I'm working with is 42 inches minus 1 will give me 41 inches. So we dividing that 41 inches by 4 and we put our measurement. That's 10.25. I don't want it all that pencil. If you want yours to be very pencil, you minus 2 inches from your hip measurement. But since I don't want mine to be very pencil, I'm minusing only 1 inch. So I'll just connect my measurement together from my waist to my hip. And from my hip to the heavy part of the dress. Okay. This is my line. It's so close to the edge. I don't know if you can see it, but this is the line. Here I'm placing my hand, and this is all about it. So I'll be cutting this out with this. That's just optional though. So right now, what I want to do now is to cut out my lining. I'll just fold the same way I folded the remaining fabric. I'll just fold the same way I cut out. So I fold it to 4. Okay, guys, we've cut everything out. I believe you guys understand the illustration. This is the upper part, and this is my lining. For the lower part, I won't be attaching any lining to it because I want it to have that stretchy effect, and it's kind of thick, so I don't need the lining on it. I just need lining on the upper part because of the side area. I don't want it to look rough. I want my edges to be very neat. Okay, the next thing to do is to sew the pinafore dress, and I'll be starting with the upper part. Firstly, I'll join the shoulders together. I'll be doing it this way. I'll join the lining separately. That's the lining from front and back. I'll join the shoulder area. Then I will use it to turn the front part. And I also join the shoulder of the main fabric together. That's the front and the back shoulder. Then I'll be using the lining to turn over the neckline and the side area. Okay, let's go and do that first. Okay, for the back part now, I want the back to be, we don't have any boots at the back, so the back will kind of be straight and to be slimmer than the front part. What I mean is that I'll come in here on my breast point line by 1 inch, and I'll just slant from this shoulder point here. You're not you're just slanting from the shoulder point here like this to the waistline. Because the back is usually slimmer. So it's still based on preference. You can leave it this way. If I prefer the back to be slimmer, it come out nicer when the back is slimmer. So I'll just trim this part off. We just come in by 1 inch for the back part, and you just connect to the shoulder point. You're not touching anything on the shoulder point. The shoulder point remains the same. Just from the breast point line to the waist point line. You just connect like this and you trim this off.
I think she's cutting.
Okay, so this is what I'm having. I'll repeat same process on the lining, so I'll just trim off the excess that I have. Okay, I've joined the shoulder area together. Okay, I just use it's about half or quarter inches. Okay, so this is my dress, my Pinafore dress, and this is the lining. I also join it separate, like I said I would do. This is it. So I'll place it like this, right side facing each other. So I just place my lining on it, right side facing each other. This is the wrong side and this is the right side. And this is the right side of my dress. So what I'll be doing next is to use this lining to turn the neckline. I'll start from this point, the back side, and sew round the front neck, the V point, sew round and sew back to this point. Then I'll also sew on the side area. That's the side area of my pinafore dress. Also on the side area, sew on the side before turning the back part. So I'll do just that and show you how it will look like. Okay, I just sewed it round using quarter inches. So this is how it is. So I'll be notching it round now with my scissors. Notching it a little like this. Just round the neckline. Yeah, I'll be turning it out now. Just put my hand like this. And bring it out this way. Okay, as you can see, I'm shaping the skirt using the desirable measurements I want for it. I've inserted my waist measurement, my hip measurement. So this is the waistline. This side, okay. Okay, I made a slit here. I marked 8 inches. This is my waistline. From my waistline, I came down by 8 inches for my zipper allowance. And I'll also be attaching a band at the upper part before fixing the pinafore area. So I'll add 1.5 length band around the waistline. Then I'll attach my zipper to it. So I just minus 2 inches. What I'm having here is 8 inches plus 1.5 inches for bands. Total is 9.5 inches. So for my slit is at about, my slit is 11 inches, 12 inches long. So that's it. So now this slit area now, I will just notch it a little on this point. Look at where I stitch. I double stitch at this area. So I'll notch it, then I will bend it over and match on it. Okay, that's it. And this is how it will be. Then you fold it in twice and you match on it. So for my band now, we'll be cutting the band out now. So when you want to cut your band, you measure around the waistline. Measure around the waistline. And what I'm having here, I've measured it already, is 34 inches. Just place your tape and measure from the zipper allowance, because the band is going to start from that point. This is my zipper allowance. I'll just place my tape like this and you measure it round. I've measured it before and it's 34 inches. The 2 inches is for the zipper allowance. Then the actual waist is 32 inches. So I'm having 34 inches here. So for my waistband, I'll be cutting this piece 34 inches long. So for the band now, I'll be cutting this. This is the piece I'll be using for the band. So I'll just, as it is like this, I'll fold it into two equal parts. Then I'll fold again. I'll be cutting out 2 inches of this. By the time I join it using quarter inches for both the upper and lower parts, I'll be having 1.5 inches left. I'll be joining using half inch. So I just mark 2 inches round 2 inches round from the folded area. I'll mark 2 inches round from the folded area here. Okay, this is the folded area. I'll mark 2 inches round and I'll cut it out. Okay, I just cut it out and as I open it up, it's 4 inches wide. So if I want to join it now, I'll fold it into two like this and I will join. I will join on the waistline of the skirt, around the waistline of the skirt, just as it is in the picture. Okay, I've attached my band and I've also fixed my zip. This is the band. Okay, what I'll be doing next is to attach the upper part to it. So I'll just fold the center front into two and mark the midpoint. Just mark the midpoint here. Okay. So I'll start fixing. I'll repeat same process on the center front of the upper part. Then that's where I'll just place and match together. Okay, this is the outcome of my kimono dress. You can see how it's looking. Kindly like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.